Five, four, three, two, one. What's up, man?
Bro, how you doing, dude?
Dude, I'm doing so good. I'm just coming off the holidays, back to the grind. I'm excited for 2021. How about you, bro?
I'm excited for uh I'm excited for 2020 to be done. It has
Yeah,
been a wild ride. There's been a lot of good things. There's been some challenges, but 2021, it's going to be an exciting time for sure.
yeah. I mean, no doubt. I'm unsure of how much farther down we can go from where we've already been. I'm unsure, but yeah, it's been crazy. What are you? I mean, 2021 is here. A lot of things going on. What are you most excited about for 2021?
Yeah, I say the thing I'm most excited about is while 2020 had its challenges, I don't think people are going to be the same. The way that we think, the way we interact with each other, the way that we do business, the way that we work. It's 2020 was kind of like shaking the hell out of a snow globe, but 2021, I see the snow is falling. It's nice. We know where things are at. We can see now, and we're looking at something a little bit different. There's a transition going in. The thing I'm most excited about with that is, I guess, little things like at the beginning of the year if you had a chance to meet someone. It was like a whole bunch of real scary tension and stuff. And now it's kind of like everyone kind of understands, hey, there's this virus thing. It's not just a joke. It's something is happening. When it comes down to business, it's like Zoom calls are pretty much normal, pretty much standardized. So now people can interact and stuff. So I'm just excited for all these weird, different social changes to at least be normal enough that I know for me, maybe it's my anxiety, maybe it's my ADD, but I overthink stuff a lot, including how to interact with humans. And I know I've had to reprogram myself this year for 2020.
Yeah. Yeah, Zoom, man. What an insane time to be the owner of a company like Zoom. Like like man, their stock is just through the roof.
Oh
Like
yeah,
amazing company for a time like this. Yeah, it's it's getting so normalized to do something like this. And I think it's interesting because I feel like it is going to help a lot of people on the video side because not a lot of people are used to video. Uh,
yeah,
I
that's
feel
true.
like it's still something that is that's growing where really you have a handful select people at the top that are really good at talking and interacting on video. Everyone's good on the phone, but you throw a camera in front of your face, it completely changes the dynamic of who you are, and it takes a little bit. Um, but
I never
yes,
thought about that, man.
super interesting. I was actually watching a video the other day about a guy. This is what is another interesting thing about just Zoom meetings and stuff. This man did a bunch of pre-recorded videos, and dude works at like a super high level company. I forget what his name is, and he pre-recorded a bunch of videos, and during meetings he would just play the videos. And so he could kind of so he would still be sitting there in front of the computer,
Yeah, yeah.
but as he is in this meeting, he's listening, he's still there ish, but he could kind of understand, or he knew from the past, okay, on this meeting, I'm probably not going to have to say anything. So I'm just going to play this cycle over and over again. So he did like literally recorded him drinking coffee, coughing, sneezing, and typing different things and just played it on a loop for like an hour, got by just fine. And then in the next one, he knew that somebody's probably going to ask him a question about a project he's working on. And so he pre-recorded that video. And then when they asked him the question, pressed play on a different loop of him answering the questions and even like smiling, laughing. Oh yeah, thanks, man. Totally like went through the whole. I mean, so I think it was like a week or two, or maybe even more of just pre-recorded, and then he eventually told his whole team that yeah, I wasn't. It was kind of like because it was a YouTube video, it was made for content, but he just wanted to see can I get by
Yeah.
pre-recording my meetings. And yeah, it was hilarious. And then the way he told his team is he actually pre-recorded a video for his team telling them that he had basically not been there the whole time and it was pre-recorded. And then he was like, "Oh, and by the way, this video is pre-recorded right now. Me telling you that I wasn't there the whole time."
Yeah, man. I mean, the fact that that's a thing, that's a cool story. I'm glad you shared that with me. It's it, it gets me excited. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of dark stuff happening. I know I lost people this year. A lot of people have had other challenges. That's what I'm talking about. What I'm excited by is that I'm seeing like a revolution of creativity. I mean, I'm not like a huge history buff, but I enjoy learning about history. And when I looked at different stages of the past where people were stuck, there was something major going on. Maybe it was a pandemic, maybe it was a war, something was going on. Afterwards, there was so much innovation, so much creativity because people either they're stuck at home for whatever reason, or they are forced to think in a different way, and all of a sudden it sheds new light, new ideas, new habits that just changes things up. And so to be comfortable on video and to find automated ways to interact, it changes the way that we interact. Because we've chatted about this before, but sometimes when there's meetings, it's kind of like, why am I here? What is the point? If you have physical meetings and you're sitting down, it's easier to kind of blend in and feel like you're doing something. But online, it's a lot more. You're like, okay, I could be doing something right now, like right here, and you're more aware that okay, maybe we can be more productive and more creative as a company.
Yeah. If a man can, if a man can literally pre-record an entire like weeks or months worth of videos, does he really even need to be in those meetings?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Because then it's no one really would have even known that he was there. But yeah, there's so many things changing. There's a lot of things I hope that don't change. I mean, I'm a traditional guy.
Yeah, yeah,
I hate this whole idea of like no shaking hands and
yeah.
stuff like that. It's like
Okay,
I'm a
just
traditional
that
guy. I'm
elbow
me.
tap.
Yeah, it's like yeah, a bunch of grown ass men just like yeah, let's slap elbows together. It's like no, like you need a solid handshake with another. And I feel like that's just how
You
business
know
has
what?
been done forever.
I was I was traveling recently. I know, like, damn it, I'm one of the people I guess that is, people could say it's just spreading it, but I don't think it was. Anyways,
Yeah.
um, where I went, people shook hands still. I shook hands with multiple people, and I gotta say, dude, it was weird how foreign that felt. Something that
Hmm.
used to be so normal, just stupid. And to go look someone in the eye and shake a hand, still that fear, still that hesitation, but it's like even on video, if I reach out and put my hand out to you, there's a part of you that's like, let me grab this thing, and
Yeah.
it totally made me think. Okay, the way things have changed. Imagine a business card. Back in the day, a year ago, you can hand someone a business card, shake a hand, bid farewell. But nowadays, you're not meeting people. So when it comes to the way that we even interact and do business, it's not a business card. It's your freaking LinkedIn. It's your Facebook page. It's your website, and it's not a handshake. It's like now the way we interact with people, it's more than just face to face. It's they're seeing you as you are online, which is not the person. And oh man, it just made me really miss the God. I hate saying this phrase, but the good old days where you could just hang out at a bar, drink a beer, meet someone next to you, shake hands, have some dumb conversation, and move on with your life. Like
Yeah.
no big deal. That was normal. And now that's like that's like Christmas. Like wow, I get to interact with humans.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we just need to bring that back. Go do a couple shot skis and just bring that back.
Well, man, I do wonder because I know uh I know you live in a smaller town area, so I'm not sure how it is. I've been mostly in big cities. But what is it like for you as a parent, looking at the world your kids grow up in, the habits that they see as normal? Because you're talking about traditional for you, which traditional for you is,
Yeah.
it's going to be different than traditional for your kids. So what do you think, like, is the impact this is going to have on their development into young adults and beyond?
Right. Well, I think I'm very lucky to live in a state um that really, you know, holds high people's personal freedoms and personal liberties and values that. So, I think that even before all this happened, with young kids, you don't really go that many places at all anyways. And so I would say, I mean, at least for us, not too much has changed
Okay.
in a lot of ways because we're a small family and well, our entire family is very family oriented. And so that we see the same people now that we really saw, a couple of months ago because taking the kids to the grocery store isn't the simplest thing in the world when you have a 4-year old and about to be 3-year old. And so not too much has changed, honestly. But I would say for my daughter, my oldest one, she's asking questions where it's like, why are people doing that? Why are people wearing masks?
How do you even
And
answer that, bro?
I'll be honest, we try not to necessarily wear masks when it's not needed. Um, if it's not required, if it's something that's not needed, we don't do that because I find value in someone's demeanor, their face. I mean, I like to, when I smile at someone, I want them to be able to see that. I want to be able to see their smile. I want to be able to have that interaction. Um, and so I wear masks when it's necessary, and when it's not necessary, I don't wear them. And honestly, I've tried to be honest with her and in my answers, and it's difficult at some points because yeah, they're just confused. They have no idea what in the world is going on.
I can't imagine.
And I just really try and be honest with her and say, Bill, because this is going on, and these people might be scared of this, um, and I just you know, there's a lot of differing opinions on masks and stuff like that, and she's kind of picked up on that as well, where it's like
Smart. She's bright.
some people think masks are dumb, and she's kind of picked up on that a little bit. Um, but at the same time, it's just it's difficult, but at the same time, I try and look to those values more because I think that there's a value in someone's demeanor and there's a value in someone's person and being able to see their face and without the ability to understand facial expressions, it's really hard to go about doing anything. So I've never made my kids wear a mask. I mean, obviously it's not the recommendation of any high level authority or organization that says that kids, below the age of 10 or 20 or whatever need to wear masks. So I've never made them wear them. Um, but at the same time, it's kind of far and few in between where she experiences a lot of people wearing masks. I don't think it's not very often.
I see.
Um, but at the same time, it's yeah, it's there's two sides. There's always two sides to that coin where it's like you have your ideals that you want to teach your kids, but at the same time, it's you have to just be aware of all the situations that are going on outside, and so it's you don't have to get too specific with kids, um, just because, yeah, like I said, they don't know what the heck's going on, but you just have to, yeah, you just kind of have to take it how it comes. It's a weird thing, but you just be honest and you just yeah, try and teach those values. Um, but yeah, strange time, and I hope it doesn't go on for a long time. Um, because like I said, I think I hope we don't start seeing, like I saw a commercial for Walmart the other day, and it's like everyone in the commercial is wearing masks.
Oh
It's like
yeah.
I've never felt so disconnected to Walmart than this commercial.
Yeah.
Like what, if you think about online business and stuff that we're really experienced in, I mean, it's typically a smile, it's someone's face, it's that really gets someone interested in what you're doing. And so I understand why they make commercials like that, why all these companies are making commercials with Zoom calls and with people wearing masks and stuff. I understand that. It's obviously a marketing technique and it's just it's not like but at the same time, it's something that I can't see lasting forever, honestly. Like in everyday life, um, I can't see it be something that lasts forever because we're going to miss that. I
So
think
what do you see coming up next then? I'd love your thoughts.
yeah. So I mean, my hope and desire and is that as the numbers continue to decline, um, and this is getting somewhat political, but at the same time, I hope that kind of maybe it maybe happen prematurely, but eventually, during like the last lockdowns, people get a little bit tired of it. When they don't see, especially when they don't see, an impact happening from their efforts, I think people will get
Hmm.
tired of it. In the same way, they'll get tired with masks. Um, I think there just needs to be a lot of honest voices out there saying the truth that because no one knows any timelines right now, right? You
Yeah,
have Bill Gates over here saying 10 years, and you have this person over here saying 1 year, and you have this person saying summer of next year, and this person saying forever. And I think it's ludicrous to look at it that way and just to say that, there's a vaccine out now, there's multiple vaccines out now. And so that being the case, if everybody has confidence in those, then everything, the most high um, vulnerable people should then be getting that, and then everybody else who, if they want to, and then after that, if that being the case, everything should kind of just go back to normal. If that's the case, then if it's effective, if they have confidence in it, then it should go back to normal. Um, at the same time, I think a lot of more people have already had it, but for like at least the future of next year, um, it's kind of up in the air right now to me, honestly. Looking at the election, I don't know what's going to happen, right? Because seeing how there's a lot going on that way, um, I'm hopeful that everything just kind of all gets settled and done, no matter which way, because no matter which way we look at it, people they have such a limited capacity to the way that they see things and view things that so many people's so many capacity is being taken up by this election that I think that it's almost hurting businesses in some way.
for
Where it's
sure.
like I want business to just be able to just get back to where it was, um, and keep on growing. And like I'm old fashioned. I like personalization. I want to see someone's face. I want to be able to shake someone's hand. I want to be able to hug someone. Um, which honestly, there's not too much of that I don't do now, but
Okay.
um, for the right people, obviously different circumstances. Like if it's somebody who is 75 years old or whatever, then yeah, I might change the circumstances there. But at the same time, um, I'm just at least I'm hopeful for most cases that I'm confident in that there's a lot of people that that want the same thing to go back and that care about those same values. And so I'm hoping that we can kind of go back in that direction. And I'm hoping that I'm this pandemic in one sense showed us how easily accessible it is to do almost anything from anywhere. I felt like there were a lot of companies that weren't confident in that. Well, it's kind of just been proven that a lot of things can get done. I hope we don't see that. I don't want to see traditional offices go away. I think there's a value, like I think there's value in teams getting together. I think there's value in, things like team meetings and get-togethers where it's like there should be an office and there should be a place that you all can go and work and brainstorm. Like that's something that's just, I mean, we've worked on things while you're overseas, but then we've
Yeah.
also worked on things when we're together. And I honestly think the dynamic is different.
Yeah.
Um, I think that dynamic, there's just something about being with someone, like physically with them, it's just different, and I think it always will be. I don't think anything's going to change that, no matter what. I don't care if there's like literally a hologramic like version of you standing here walking around in the office.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think anything's going to change that personalization, and I think that needs to go back into business. I think that needs to go back into online marketing for a lot of cases, and just online business in general. And so I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful for that in a lot of ways. But
Man, well, I'd wonder then, just because with all this happening, things that could happen, obviously you have no crystal ball, no one does. What are you doing going into this next year? And like what actions or what things are you focusing on?
Yeah. Well, I think that a lot of things are going to be, I think that given the fact that, I've been traditionally a marketer for a couple of years now, obviously, we both know that. And I think going into this next year, I think a lot of things are going to change.
Mm.
Because I think when you have such an industry change like what's happened this year, um, and then at the same time you have this, a lot of changes happening in online marketing, where I think we're definitely kind of I think on the down wave of not well, I guess I can't say the down wave, but we're on like the more like Facebook marketing had just such a huge wave from like 2000 and like I don't know, 12 or like 2012 to 14 ish to like 2018 or so to 19. And it was just rapid, insane growth. And, because you had everyone selling an SMMA course. You had everyone buying Ty Lopez's course, Ryan Dice, and just everybody's course. Everyone's buying that, calling themselves a marketer. And I think that next year is going to, I think what a lot of good marketers have been waiting for is when is the when is it going to happen that the good marketers are sorted out from the bad? Because like every company takes so many calls with different marketers, some good and some bad. Um, but and I think it's because, or and well, I'm hopeful for that because with given the changes that are happening, like with iOS and Facebook, obviously over the past 2 to 3 years, privacy law has been talked about so much, and I know everyone thinks that this. I've seen some people say in this new iOS update, well, this is just a standard change, and oh, this happens every year and stuff like that. Oh, they make all these changes. Facebook usually makes those changes, or the government usually does. But the difference here to me is that it's Apple who's making this change on their device. We've never really had an external company do it. We've had Facebook change their targeting and stuff like that and make updates and whatnot, but this is an external company that's making a change. And so, given that, I think that as Facebook comes kind of to a more like stable position um, after the wave, and stuff like that, I think that what I'm personally focusing on over the next year is cross channel, getting kind of away from that aspect of Facebook only marketing, because I think that when this change happens, it is going to sort the good from the bad. Because the traditional people that took a Ty Lopez course and that are testing certain audiences or doing a certain type of strategy, that's not going to work the same anymore. And I think that a lot of businesses are going to be affected by it, especially high ticket. And so maybe course creators won't be able to get as many accurate results as they did before because they're probably going to be more high ticket. And so I like the idea that pixel events will be picked up when actions actually happen. I think there's some good aspects to that, but I think that we're going to see or we need to see a trend of more cross-channel marketing because like think about literally anything else in life when you're investing in anything. When is it a good idea to invest in one thing? Ever. Like literally ever invest in just one specific thing besides Bitcoin. Um, and so I think that people have everyone's told niche down, right? Everyone's said, oh, niche about Facebook ads, niche. If you're gonna be a Facebook ads, you need to say that you're doing Facebook ads and stuff like that. The issue is, I think that's number one. It's created an industry of everybody thinks that they can be a good Facebook marketer because they took this course and they niched down, and they took this course so they call themselves a social media advertiser. And then that's also created a huge gap in the idea of scaling. Um, because show me a billion-dollar company or even a multi-million-dollar company that only advertises on one platform. And so I'm like, so I think that's going to be a huge thing coming into next year because as the bad marketers are heavily impacted by new updates like this, and I don't think this is going to be the first privacy update. I honestly think there's going to be more, but and I think it is different because it's Apple doing it, not Facebook. It's Apple. It's an external source. So now, and maybe Facebook will come up with a solution for this. I mean, it's their revenue. I'm sure they're going to do whatever they can to protect their revenue. Um, but So that's a big primary focus of mine because I'm concerned most, and what I talk about on my channel a lot is I'm concerned most about scaling. Because most people we've talked to, or a lot of people that we've talked to, that I've talked to, have gotten to five figures a month by themselves. A lot of people, and I feel like it's been kind of ingrained a lot in people that it's like, oh, to make money, I need to hire a marketer and stuff. But it's like most of them have gotten there by themselves, but it's scaling that's hard for everybody. And so that's going to be a huge primary focus of mine in 2021, taking like kind of a shift from this traditional marketing sphere that kind of I feel like holds a lot of people down without them even knowing it. It's totally subconscious. They're being held down because they've just been told, niche down. You're just a Facebook marketer. Just that's all you do. It's all you need to do for people. They can hire other people for all this other stuff. I think that in what that indirectly hurts clients more than it helps them, if that makes sense. So that's my primary focus. I've talked a lot, probably too much. What, what about you?
Yeah, man. I first of all, I think it's really insightful for you to kind of notice that trend of the way you see other companies happening, and especially most people we meet, they got to the multiple five figure, at least five figure monthly standpoint, normally on their own. I mean, you're starting a company, you're not going to have the money to pay for an agency or some fancy freelancer, and so you're going to have to figure it out somehow. And if you choose Facebook, yeah, that's around the point that you're going to be looking for somebody. Um, I think that's a huge trend, and it's one that I'm definitely tracking. I know for any initiatives that I'm considering, it's cross channel first. Like it's not just we're gonna do Facebook, we're gonna do Instagram, we're gonna do YouTube, we're gonna do LinkedIn. It's like no, we're how do we apply ourselves in each channel, and that's just a standard. For me, the biggest action, the biggest I guess focus that I have now is on data. I think that the world is becoming more complicated in terms of data. I think it's actually been there for quite some time now. The difference is that now people are finally becoming aware just how powerful their data is. And you have a lot of really interesting conversations. There's on the one hand, um, someone who creates a website, is that not their site? If someone creates a company, is that not their company? And how they decide to use that, in some ways, can be argued is up to them. On the other hand, when like nowadays, you have companies like WhatsApp that has never produced a single dollar in revenue and then is bought for over $20 billion for nothing more than the fact that there's a lot of data, a lot of information about people. That comes a point where if a company doesn't have a product, then you as the person, you are the product. So then who owns that? Do the users own it? Or does the company who invested the money in the team and the systems to build everything to make it happen own it? And there's a very long list of these again interesting conversations, and I mean, as we get more regulation, I personally fully agree with like what GDPR and the various other similar data protection acts around the world are doing. I agree. There needs to be a lot more regulation what's happening, and there needs to be more transparency in how data is being used. So my focus is on how can I be a part of this data revolution. Specifically, I'm interested in machine learning and artificial intelligence, and to be able to uh, apply machine learning systems into uh, into more small business like SMB range needs. So of course you've got some
Yeah.
really big data teams and you've got some real smart people doing the big global stuff. And you know what, that's not me right now. At the same time, I have a feeling that those $5 to $50 million a year companies, they don't have teams of data scientists. They don't have a $20 million annual R&D budget. So I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities in that space. And specifically, I'm looking at what opportunities are there that I can dedicate and apply myself towards, and then what caliber of, I don't know if integrity is the right word, but what caliber of transparency, of organization, of communication, like what are we going to be doing to educate and communicate with people how their data is being used? Most specifically, when it comes down to automated profiling, that's one of the big issues that comes with GDPR. Is people want to know, is your information being profiled? But that becomes, again, interesting conversation, because how do you take in information without organizing it? Could you imagine talking to somebody and not thinking about, oh, we're talking about this. Oh, this is an appropriate response. Like, no, we have structures we use, and it's just a very strange time that I think we're going to have. Well, I referred to the snow globe earlier. I think in that circle, the snow globe is still being shaken, and no one can see anything.
Mm.
And the view that is left, the companies and businesses that are standing whenever everything settles, uh, figuring out how to be a part of that team and how to be a force for good within that new whatever setup of businesses that are really the team, really the global players, is the main focus I have moving forward.
Yeah. What kind of impact, I mean, do you think, things like AI, machine learning, all that? I mean, I don't know probably enough about artificial intelligence as I should. It's something I'm very interested in. It's something I would love to know more about. And I don't even think we've touched really the brink or the tip of the iceberg from what I've seen. Because I feel like there's a lot more marketer generated or marketing specific AI that's coming up the more and more I see. And so, what do you see in the future in terms of AI for even for business and for even small businesses in general?
Yeah, it's uh, that question. There's a few ways you can go with that. What time period are you thinking? 5, 10, 20, 50 years? Like,
I mean, I guess I think it's I don't even know if we can look 5 years out because of how just rapidly technology is growing and changing.
right?
I don't even know if we can look 5 years ahead because things 5 years ahead from now might be insanely dramatically different than what's right now. I'm just thinking about 20 because I mean I'm talking about even in just the last year. I feel like I've seen a lot more AI tools happen. I mean,
Oh
literally
yeah,
customer service tools where it's like you don't even need to have an agent anymore, and it's not like you know where you call in and it's like press one for this, press two for this. No, it's
yeah,
like you're
yeah,
literally talking to a robot. It's asking you questions with a voice. You're asking it questions. It's giving you answers, and then
yeah.
you can have an agent there in case something happens or goes wrong. But that's insane. And I feel like in the past, even just past year, I've seen a lot of these types of companies that are utilizing different types of
Oh
AI,
yeah.
automation, and stuff in their business. But it's I feel like it's definitely maybe I just haven't talked to a lot of small businesses that are necessarily thinking about that.
Well, and
And
that's why I ask about the time frame, because even looking from a, let's just say 2 years, because 1 year, I mean, just one crazy operating system update or software update or something can set a project back a couple months or help it accelerate a couple months. Let's just say 2 year time frame. I believe it'll get to a point that right now AI is a buzzword. It sounds sexy. People feel warm and fuzzy when they hear it, but it's not the most accurate. True artificial intelligence is very rare, very uncommon, and seldom touched. I mean, unless you're like Google or Tesla or something, where you have massive teams going into it. It's not AI that you're working with, it's machine learning. Now, machine learning is just a very advanced form of computer logic. Think about an if then statement. If this happens, then do this. If this other thing happens, then do that. And to be I mean, for any data scientists watching this, I apologize for being overly simplistic and maybe it's not fully accurate, though my simplistic understanding of it is it's a very complicated version of that. And so I think what's going to happen with SMBs and in the small business space is the technologies we use, one, are going to start becoming cheaper. We're going to find that, at one point, a software or a system or solution, it may have cost $2,000, $3,000 a month, just not even in the realm of reasonable for a small business owner to consider testing with. Well, now they can get that same solution done by a machine learning backed company that can do it for $400 a month. And the reason why is because, going back to the whole conversation of data, companies are starting, software companies specifically, are starting to be able to charge less money upfront from their customers because they're able to gain higher returns on the valuation of their company as a result of how much data they control,
Right.
how many businesses are using the service, how many end users, how many and end customers are involved with whatever systems are going on. Again, look at Slack. You made a video about it that was awesome. Freaking massive acquisition. Why?
Huge. Yeah.
Because of the amount of users that if you were to take any type of machine learning process behind, well, now could you fathom trying for us to communicate and to stay organized without a system, not necessarily Slack, but like Slack? Instant communication, organizational structure, complete transparency, security. A system like that could have cost hundreds, if not thousands of dollars a month just 10 years ago. Well, now it's free for the most part. And if you really want to pay, it's essentially pennies on the dollar compared to what it used to be. So I believe that this changes, at least there's a lot of changes, but I think that the biggest impact that I see being useful for small businesses as well as for entrepreneurs like us to be considering is that the price of various complex business services is going to go down exponentially. And to be able to generate large amounts of wealth is a book that has really inspired me by Peter Diamandis called Bold. He's recently come out with a new one. I have not read it yet, but his book Bold, I think that's from like 2014 or 2015, made a huge impact on me. Essentially, he talks about how when you have a convergence of different technologies, right now we've got machine learning and we've also got things like cloud computing, making it to where cloud storage, making it to where we can have a video chat with each other right now in basically real time for free. For almost free. It's cut off in 40 minutes if we don't have the paid service. I have the paid service. But it's something where that's a huge shift. And I think that for entrepreneurs looking at how do we make an impact now, find the convergence of technologies and how can you disrupt an industry by making something significantly cheaper. So Slack, instant communications for business becomes organized and affordable. You look at something like a company that I love, Segment. They did this super geeky stuff, big data and analytics type stuff. For a couple $100 a month, you can do what used to cost tens of thousands of dollars just to set up and still required a freaking database engineer as well as a data scientist to be able to organize this thing. Now, for a couple $100, you can do it. I think there's going to be similar opportunities. Things that if you have a business, you have a skill, you have an interest, you have something of value you can do, find a way to leverage up and coming technologies to disrupt whatever's happening in order to drive that price down, increase the user base, because there is just a ton of opportunities like that right now today. And if you're the business owner, to be looking at how can you leverage the new technology? Your competitors are probably still using the software from 2 years ago, paying 3 times, 5 times, 10 times as much, not even knowing that they are, because if if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? So they're probably going to keep on doing what they're doing. Meanwhile, if you're a small business owner, reassess your software, reassess your systems, create SOPs for the modern days, because it's likely you're going to be able to get a leg up on your competition just by staying a step ahead when it comes to your technology.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's a lot. Something I do not think. Yeah, I mean, I think we're in the biggest. I don't know if I saw somebody post the other day. They were like, "What would you call the revolution we're in right now?" I mean, obviously industrial revolution, like tech/digital. Has anyone even called this time period the data revolution?
Yeah, there's a lot of phrases. It looks like the industry hasn't quite agreed upon what we're going to call this period of time because I'm not nearly educated enough about it to describe it here. But it's tough because it's not just a data revolution. There's multiple different technologies that are
Right.
converging upon each other simultaneously to create parallel revolutions all at the same time.
So
And
many different things.
each one individually would stand to be able to revolutionize our species. So it's a strange time. All I know is that it's the next 5 years are not going to look like we're not even going to recognize ourselves from as far as like how we do business, how we
Yeah.
interact, the systems that we take. It's going to be night and day different. You can look back a decade ago, 2010, the iPad came out. People were making fun of it, thinking that that was stupid. It's just a giant iPhone. And the
Yeah.
iPhone had just come out 2.5 years prior. It's like the dumbest thing in the world. What is that? What is wrong with Apple? Oh my God, they're no longer innovative. They can't do anything. Oh, wait a second. Apple hits $1 trillion valuation a year ago or something. 10 years. Facebook, things like this. Social media wasn't a job. That's not a career. It's something that you use. Now, it's not even that there's degree programs for social media. It's the degree programs are rendered obsolete because by the time a person graduates with a degree in some type of social media specialization, that information is completely obsolete upon graduation. So it's something where 5 years, 10 years down the line, I would really just look at it as whatever this revolution is called, real tough to say. But if we can look at it as we got to think faster, we got to learn quicker, we've got to be able to adapt because, like it, dislike it, of course, there's all sorts of arguments and conversations to be had about morals and ethics and the laws that will govern these new systems and technologies. Yet at the same time, I think most rational people can agree everything is changing. And if you can be prepared to keep that as a standard of operation of how we live our lives, how we interact with each other, I do believe that's going to help to provide the best impact, the best result in whatever it is we do. And
Yeah.
that's how I'm living.
Yeah. Because and I think, as we've talked, and we've talked a lot in the past about this before. I mean, we've worked on a lot of projects together and we've talked about scaling a lot. And that's something I talk about a lot on my channel. And it's obviously the main focus of everything I do. And I think you do a lot of as well. It sounds like scaling in and of itself is going to be completely different than from what it has been in the past. I mean, we have a process, obviously, for Facebook ads and for, how to scale that. And companies, it's been very, very scalable in the past. Um, how do you think, and I'm sure a lot of businesses are concerned about 2021. And I think given that we saw the dramatic increase in e-commerce this year, I mean, huge record-breaking numbers of e-commerce this year, a lot of businesses probably going into next year are interested in that, concerned about that, but at the same time, even businesses that are still that sub 100K a month level,
Like per month, per year.
yeah, like sub 100K per month, still kind
Yes,
of relatively small business.
for sure.
You know, how do you see the process of scaling changing from the past to even in 2021, 2022?
Yeah, and I appreciate that question because this is one of those things that it literally keeps me up at night. Um, I think that I think that the industry has fed people a lie that marketing, scaling is this super complicated fantasy, mythical dragon of a thing, kind of like artificial intelligence. But the reality is that with the way technology has changed, most businesses have enough to begin growing rapidly. The challenge I have with the word scaling is that there's not a, you know, well agreed upon definition of what that actually means. Kind of like optimization or the word funnel. Like the fact is, each one of these phrases could be a word to use in
Right,
a hundred different ways
right,
depending on the circumstance. So
right.
when it comes down
It's
to
weird. It's like
how to
marketers almost try to be inherently general.
Oh, well, wait, if you think
Wait a
marketing in
minute.
general, spend some time with high finance. Start talking about collateralized debt obligations and
Yeah, go
all
talk with
sorts.
those loan sharks in New York and
Oh yeah,
see how
man. You think
specific they are.
yeah, they get real complicated, but I think that's intentional because it makes it to where they're able to substantiate value. And when it comes down to what it takes, I find that right now, going back to the basics, keeping things simple. If you take all the changes that are happening right now, I'd love your thoughts if you see something that might be inaccurate. I've been looking for a truism to follow, a kind of a north star to guide me into this different world we're going in. And over the last 5 years, I can say business is two things. On one side, it's research, data, understanding something, understanding your customer, what do they need, understanding your service, what are you providing and how well. It's just data. The other side is content. At some point, somebody needs to hear about you. Maybe back in the day, that content was knocking on a door and having some dude trying to sell you some knives. And should transition, and content is now various forms, or was then like TV ads and radio ads, and maybe some kind of news release. And now content might be social media, and content might be whatever you're doing on your blog. It's what are you producing to get whatever you do in front of people. And if you can break things down to those simple levels, there's going to be something you have the capacity to do. So for some, maybe it is Facebook ads. Maybe that's where you're going to go to get yourself started. Maybe that is going to be, you know, that you have something superior that no one else knows about. Focus on how do you get that name out there? What is the content you can do? But if you can break things down for how can we either leverage our data, leverage information, take a deeper understanding of how to serve our customers, how to make a better thing, how to get our material out there, or content, produce a better system. Elon Musk doesn't give a crap about advertising, invests all of his money into the best cars possible so then his vehicles become the advertisement. Make it to where you can figure out as a business what can you do, because when you break things down, it's the research, the data, the information, whatever you want to call it. That is one part of your business. The other part is what is actually being generated and how are you getting that out there.
Right. No, I love that point about Tesla. I mean, gosh, I always, every time I'm driving down the road and I see a Tesla, it's like in my head, I'm just like, oh, there's a Tesla. I see it. And it's like over here in Ohio, it's like there's not very many. This is just
I
not
notice, yeah.
the typical climate that someone's probably thinking about driving an electric car. But at the same time, I think that it's getting better in a lot of ways, that that whole technology. But yeah, the best products really don't need that much marketing. If it's the best, I mean that's what I mean.
Yeah.
That's he puts so much focus on being the absolute best. It's if you were on a prime example of like word of mouth advertising, totally free, didn't cost you literally anything. I mean, you probably paid some people to create maybe some content on your social media profiles or whatever, but it's just a prime example of what it takes and what it means to create a product that is so out of this freaking world. People are so blown away by it that you don't even need to market for it, and you're a multi-billion dollar company.
Yeah. I mean, research, he knows his customer. Research, he knows the industry. He understands the technology. And then in this case here, that content is limited because he was able to double down on one piece of it. And the content, I would say the content is a car. I would say the
Right.
content is a factory. I'd say that they made it to where their creation is those systems. But I think if you break things down, use that as a filter. That's all it is. It's just a tool. It's just a way to think. But I think if you're a business owner, you've got 1,000 different options. You don't need a new toy. You don't need a silver bullet. You don't need some douchebag marketer yelling at you for 45 minutes on some landing page telling you about how if you don't click the button and buy now, your entire business is going to fail. What I think that people need to be able to, when I say people, I do mean those smaller businesses, like those sub-$1 million, 100K a month ish businesses, but even all the way up to the 50 million annual SMBs. I think that by using that filter, what can we do regarding research, data, information? What can we do regarding content? And if you can see how can you turn the dial on those using that filter, I believe that business owners know their business and
Right.
they'll know what their advantage is, because it's going to be different if you ask me that question versus if I asked you. You're likely going to see different stuff, but if you're the business owner, you're the one who has to execute on it, which
Right.
means that it wouldn't make sense to go to some random guy, again, that marketer dude, and ask him, hey, Mr. Marketer, how do I make money? No, that doesn't make any
Hey,
sense.
Mr. Marketer, who's my customer?
Yeah,
Don't you
exactly.
know?
You're the business owner, so it's just a filter, it's just a formula with which you can, at the very least, filter out the 98% that is garbage of stuff that would waste your time, your energy, or worst of all, your money, and instead focus on the 2% that you can stand behind and you can understand to really grow.
For sure. For sure. All right. Well, man, I love it, and I appreciate you spending some time with me today. I mean, I look forward to hopefully doing it again here soon. Appreciate all your insight. Super
Yeah,
helpful.
dude. Always awesome jamming with you. This is actually the first style video I've done like this. So I appreciate you kind of doing something different in our industry because
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen this so often.
Gotta change it up a little bit. You gotta, trying to start the trend.
Well, my
All
brother,
right.
hope you have a wonderful New Year's coming up here in a day. I guess if you're in Asia, it's coming up in a couple of hours. But till next time, brother.
Yeah. All right.
Bye for
You
now.
too, bro. See you. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you liked it, found value in it, make sure that you hit that like and subscribe button down below and leave me a comment if there's something you want to comment on as well. This is a new style I attempted and tried today. And so let me know if you like it. Thank you guys so much. Until next time.